turn a lot of this styrofoam padding. I dropped it. Okay. So here's the mirror. It's going to go on this wall. Oh, it's not that deep at all. So I was worried how deep this is going to be, but it's fine. So this is how much it's going to stick out from the wall. And that's what the mirror looks like inside. So you can probably change these out and put a handgun, maybe a small, like a CZ Scorpion or something. Empty. Perfect. This will fit the MP5. So I think it's where the MP5 is going to live. So I've measured the opening for the wall. It says to measure the back of the mirror, not the mirror itself, but the actual compartment, and go a 1/4 inch bigger. Pretty much it's like 14.5 inches between wall studs from edge to edge. And then it's 31.5, I think, from top to bottom. Alright, so now I'm going to cut an exploratory hole so I know if there's anything that's going to be a problem when I cut this wall out. Exploratory cut. So I'm wearing nitrile gloves and long sleeves just in case. And let's start destroying it. What? There's another stud there? That's annoying. So that's annoying. There's an extra stud in here that that my stud finder did not find. Irritating. Got the hole cut out. A little pain in the butt because there was a third stud. I had to cut that out. And I had to trim the rough edges on the drywall to get this thing to fit. But now it's in there. There's these really strong rare earth magnets. They're like 4 or 5 inches long by like an inch tall. and they have double-sided sticky tape on them. So I stuck one up here, stuck one here. So as you can see, there's one there, there's one there. I put them laterally, so when I put my MP5 in here, it'll hold the MP5. But I just want to test it with the Glock in the meantime. And now I'm just finishing it up by installing the screws, which go straight rather than through the sides. And they're going straight into the drywall stud. Now, I prefer drywall screws with meatier threads. These are kind of a little too narrow, so I might change these out later for longer and fatter threads. But it's in there. And now to set up the lock, which is coming up next. So the next step is to install this latch mechanism and screw it into this little pedestal here, which then interfaces with this thing. One annoying thing, at least for me, is that this requires 4 AAA batteries. I have a whole bunch of AA's, but not a lot of AAA's, so that's a minor inconvenience. So the mirror is installed, and it's RFID. You put the card where the lock is, it unlocks. Now, if I close it, it doesn't automatically lock. You have to swipe the lock, and then a little pin drives up and hooks onto this part here. Oops. There we go. And now it's locked. The one thing I'm not a fan of, the mirror does stick out quite conspicuously from the side of the wall. So it's not as flush as I would like. You can clearly see a seam here. I would have preferred it if this was more inset into the wall and the only thing sticking out of the wall was just this mirror part, not this part as well. Another thing that's a little disappointing are these shelves. Now they have a nice little lip so things won't, you can sort of rest them against this little lip here. The problem is if you want to adjust them in any way, then it gets a little bit annoying because now these are screwed in. You have to unscrew them and then you can lift it up and then remove the side pins which indent into the side walls. So if I want, well, I'm going to do that right now. So here's a little trick I just really found out. So you unscrew the screw from underneath this on both the front ones, and then you can just spin this, and then you get to the back ones a lot easier with your drill or your screwdriver. Okay, so as I planned it, I have a magnet here and a magnet here. The magnet does seem to attract the MP5 a bit. Some of my accessories kind of gets in the way, like this flashlight and then the charging handle, but it sticks in there, and more importantly, I can close it. So, store my MP5 in there. There we go. So, I want to verify something. This is a Caltech Shield wallet. Pretty cool little wallet, aluminum, but it's supposed to block RFID. Now, the card that unlocks this is RFID. Now, you saw me earlier, I was pushing it right up against it, but it doesn't unlock. Now, there's a little bit of thickness here, so I thought maybe it's the thickness that's blocking the RFID. But I'm not even going to touch it, and it unlocks. So this actually does block the RFID. So if you're going to keep your unlocking card in a wallet and think, I'll just grab my wallet and wave it into to unlock or lock the thing, this will, or any RFID blocking wallet will prevent you from doing that. Okay, so I figured out something. I'm not sure what I did wrong. I'll have to call Timbervault to figure it out. So I have two cards, okay? There is a third programming card. I think I screwed it up. So I locked it with this card and I can unlock it. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm gonna lock it with this card. It locks, right? Now watch. No, I can't unlock it. I can only unlock it with this card. Now if I lock it with this card, I can't unlock it with this card. So these cards are independent of each other, which is annoying. So let's keep this aside. So last we visited this, the cards were doing something weird. I could lock it with card A, and I cannot open with card B. So I have to unlock with card A and then relock with card B, then I can unlock it with card B. But I could not, if I lock it with card B, I couldn't unlock it with card A. These are like independent keys, which is really annoying. So if I lock it with card A and go away, my wife can't open it with card B. That's stupid. So talk to Timbervault and they walked me through it. And so now I had reprogrammed the lock. It's real easy, the simple steps. There's a programming card that you get, and you have to remove the lock and do some button pushing and swiping. But now, it works. Now, it's a slight change. The lock automatically will lock itself now. Before, when I got it, the instructions said to make sure you manually lock the lock, but now it's automatically locking itself. So don't stick your card in there and close the mirror. But now, I can unlock it with B. And see, it locks itself and open with A. So it works the way I want it to, and I don't have to re-swipe it to lock it, which is kind of nice. I'm sure if you talk to them, you could probably get it to go back to factory settings where once the pin stays down, you have to manually swipe it again to make the pin go back up. But I kind of like it automatically relocking itself, so I don't have to re-swipe so many times. Also, I noticed I keep touching the mirror. Obviously that's a clear indication, like, hey, why does the mirror keep constantly being touched there? So I just cleaned it with some Windex, and yeah, just don't touch the mirror. There you go. There's the Timbervault mirror. One thing I noticed, that it's all wood construction. In my mind, I was thinking of the other brand, Tactical Walls, and I thought, you know, their system was kind of cool, but then when I started looking at it more closely, it's just plastic, like vacuum formed or whatever, inserts, tubs that are inserted into the wall, and then you have basically a wood framed mirror kind of thing that just kind of bolts to the wall and covers that up. This is all a self-contained unit. It's all made of wood. Oh, and that thing complains if you leave it open and you didn't close it. So that's kind of a nice indication. Like if you forget, or maybe it's a jar or something and you think you locked it, it'll beep. Now, unfortunately, there's no way to mute the beep. I asked, so you just kind of have to live with it. But yeah, it fits the MP5. Let's grab some more guns. So, just to show you, this is the smaller mirror. There is a longer one, and I originally asked if possible, can I get the longer, bigger one? They sent me a small one, and I was concerned it's only for handguns, but clearly not. This is much bigger than I was expecting. So, as you saw, I put my MP5 in there. It'll fit a pistol AR just fine. And if you have a law folding tactical adapter, I haven't had it folded because I need to, well, let me stick that in there. You can stick Kel-Tec shotgun and close it. Okay, so any like 26-inch firearm will fit. Space Force X95 goes in there. Let me get a measuring tape. So the mirror compartment is like 29 3/4 by 12 3/4, but then with the lock pedestal in the way, it's about less, slightly shy of 12 inches from here to here. But as you saw earlier, if I try to stick the X95 in like this, it kind of gets, it sort of fits. It's not great. It fits better like this. And of course, if you don't have the optic, then, you know, it's fine. Shut up, I got it. So, I think it's a pretty good mirror. Price is $2.99 with free shipping, which is pretty impressive because this box was huge. I can't imagine how much that cost to ship. So yeah, my only complaint, as I posted earlier, is this is kind of thick, right? And you can clearly see a seam, and it just seems weird. Like, why would the mirror be separated from this? I wish this wasn't here and the mirror was against the wall. But that's just the way how this thing is built and designed. I think the hinge would be more complicated if it did that. But other than that, I'm pretty pleased with this mirror setup. RFID, they all come with RFID, whereas the other brands, not all of them are RFID. There's no screws here because it would go straight through into the mirror. So there's only 2 screws to anchor this. So yeah, pretty easy to install. I had a hiccup with the 3rd stupid stud that I did not know was there because my stupid stud finder couldn't find it. But my Sawzall was able to cut that out, and I used a hammer, claw hammer. I didn't record on the video, but I used a claw hammer to pry the piece of 2x4 away because it was nailed from the other side. So I just used a claw hammer to get it out.